Sam Pio is a multi-award-winning theatre performer, singer, dancer, actress, and creator with over 30 years of experience. She is also the head mentor and facilitator for the Vula Amehlo and Columba Leadership Expressive Arts Program.
Hi everyone and welcome to our online stage. And we are so excited because as usual, we are joined by some fantastic learners and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. So go ahead.
Hi everybody, my name is Harrison. I'm 16. Yes, I am. Okay, technically I'm 17. Like in a couple of months. I'm from Kenilworth Secondary School and I joined MIC in 2021. So I'm a veteran in this program. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shaylin. I am 15 years old. I am currently a learner in Kenilworth Secondary and I joined MIC last year.
Hi everyone, my name is Pablo, but everybody calls me Pablo. And I'm an actor, a comedian somehow. And I'm from Rustenburg, Zinyaville Secondary School. I joined the Columba group early this year. I think that's it about me.
Beautiful stuff. So we are so excited to welcome our next guest. And so I think it's time to do just that, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here you go.
Our guest is a well-known TV personality, actor, facilitator, motivator, and beloved comedian with more than 10 years professional MC experience. With his larger-than-life personality, commanding presence, and quicksilver bit, this huge-hearted personality makes the world a better place, simply by being in it. Welcome, Jason Goliath.
Welcome, Jason. Yay!
Round of applause.
We are so excited to have you here.
Listen, I'm so excited to be here. I feel horribly underdressed and old. I'm just looking at all of this fashion. There's socks and flops. I've never done that in my life. We were disciplined differently as children. Then color blocking, everything's on point. I can't even touch the outfit in the middle. And then, Tom and Jerry's made a comeback and I wasn't informed. I feel left out. And also I was trying to remember I only remember Pablo. And then what are the names again? Shaylin, I'll never forget again, Shaylin, I promise. And Harrison. So Harrison Ford, Shaylin,
Monk,
and Pablo. And then Harrison is the one that can't do maths. Let me just, Pablo, I don't know how they teach maths in Rustenburg. But you are 16 until you are 17. There's no... You know when you get pulled off by the police, you can't say, well, officer, I'm basically sober. Officer, I'm basically old enough to drive. You can't say basically and your age. After the age of 2 years old. Because up to 2 years old, you can still categorize in months. Your mother can say it's 18 months, Shane. You know what I mean? But you can't say basically. I'm just letting you know because I'm 42 and I'm basically out of motor plan. I'm basically an old man now. Okay, my life has basically changed. So it's the first time in my life I'll naturally just get angry around the youth because you don't understand how good your knees are. For no reason, you all have good knees. For no reason, all of you, your bowel movements on clock, on schedule. Once you're 42, you are rolling the dice. I'm telling you. Ask your fathers. Your fathers will understand how you can go from vrpa to immediately. Anyway, what are we doing here?
I'm like, rein him in, baby. Rein him in. You see, I don't even know what to say because that's basically like a comedy set right there, right? But good shoes. You've got good shoes, Jason.
Listen, thank you. I had these made because I made my wife a similar pair. Then we're twins sometimes because we're quite cute like that. We're quite cute like that. Take notes. We're quite cute like that. So thank you for noticing.
Okay, so I'm just going to say to you before I come back to you, I just want to say, so Harrison was 13 when he first joined the Expressive Arts, and there were only 3 pupils in 2021, right?
Obvious reasons, yeah. It was 2021, we were locked down.
No, school was there, but we were going to school, but we only had 3 people.
Okay. How many do we have now?
How many people do we have now? Like over 30, 40.
Okay.
But the commitment, year after year after year. And Harrison is the one that then got like a bunch of people to join in 2022. He just pulled everyone into the hall, and 2023 is just like, come, pulling people left, right, and center to join. So the basically being 17 is what he does. He goes, we're having fun in here. Basically, it's for everyone. Just come in.
No, but I also, because that's when you're talking to your mother, and she goes, "Are there even any other children there?" And then there's only 3 of you. Then you say, "Well, we're basically 30, ma." Then you just go in the neighborhood and call all your friends to come through. Okay, I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. Well done.
And
well
then
done. Well done.
Shaylin is new this year, but he started off very quiet, beautiful little writer, and also a dancer. He started dancing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm just going to let this gentleman do what he's wanting to do.
By the way,
Yes.
you wouldn't expect what I did.
Tell me what you do.
I went bald for you.
For me,
For you.
nobody has ever.
Today.
Nobody's ever. People have shaved things for me in their life. But a head. None, never, ever. Don't look at me like that. I didn't say anything. I spoke facts and truth. I receive. I'm not sure what we are hoping to achieve by this cheese scope other than looking cheesy, but let me tell you, it's not wasted on me. I'll tell people about you in my future.
Please.
People who don't appreciate me enough. Even you've changed the game with my wife. My wife must never complain. I said some man once shaved his head.
I also want to know the backstory. Why did you? I mean, I thought it was an in joke.
Yes.
What's going on?
I just did it.
You were just like,
I just did it. I just said,
what can I do for Jason?
just
And the
to
first
honor,
thing that just
you know,
popped in your head is shave.
Let me shave my head off.
Listen, I've been broke also. Sometimes the ideas are fleeting. Because you probably had big glamorous ideas like buying me a gift, and then sometimes, your bank account is not set up the same.
Yes.
So this is worth more than any money. We're going to have a selfie, and forever and ever, I will be reminded of the one time somebody shaved their head for me. I feel special. I feel like I imagine this is how thin comedians feel. I feel special. I do.
And I also think he's going to go back to school tomorrow looking like a hardened criminal convict.
No, but it's for,
I don't care about them.
it's for a good cause.
Not gonna lie, but I don't care about
sure about
them.
the cause, but it's for a great cause.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Nah, but you look more like a Pablo now. I don't know what you looked like before. So give me a before description. We've got nice where you category 1, category 2
was this.
in the middle. So you were category 5.6.
Oh,
and then just decided
and
enough.
then I just decided, you know what? Let me just do it.
Let me just
I'm finna do it.
go from pub afro to pub no fro. That's your new name now. Yeah. Pub no fro. I like it.
I don't have a pro though. Still.
So Pablo, you also said to me that you're like it sounded like you were comedian-ish. Like you didn't have the confidence to say I'm a comedian. You said comedian-ish. What does that mean? You didn't say comedian-ish, but you know how you said it.
I sometimes do comedy. I used to do comedy by the streets. No, I used to live around the community where, that place is not a place where you would think that someone like that would come up from.
Are we?
So
What's the
everything
name of
was
that community?
Tlabane,
And it's in Rustenburg.
Rustenburg.
And compare Tlabane to a place that I would know like Joburg. Is it like Eldorado Park? Is it like Klipspruit?
Alexandra.
Is it Orlando? It's Alex.
Alex.
It's Gomorrah straight.
Gomorrah.
Directly.
Gomorrah.
Rats and dogs and cats all the same size. One WhatsApp group. One WhatsApp group.
But mostly back of them.
Okay, I love that because I come from Extension 9 Eldorado Park, and if you'd seen us growing up, there's no way you would have imagined that this comes from there. And the best part about that is I always tell people, like, if you come from a place that is soft, your whole life is going to be hard. If you come from a place that is hard, if hard is your normal, your whole life is going to be soft. There are things that will make people cry, then you go, but
This thing is
ice cream falls on the floor every day. Why are you crying? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so honestly, I attribute my ability to be a comedian, because what a lot of people don't think about in the communities that we come from, there's no money. And generally, most people are entertained by money. And because there's no money, you've got to find ways to entertain yourself, keep your mind busy, have a good time. And that was us. We used to call it guara for a guara. It was a kasi roast where we would just tease each other the whole day.
That's
that
what-
becomes your entertainment. You don't even do your homework. You're thinking of new guaras for tomorrow.
That's what they think
You're
of.
thinking
me
of
there.
new guaras for tomorrow. So I understand you. So tell me about the jokes in the kasi on the street. What is that like?
I'm gonna just say, I really don't know. There, when you live there, it's like every moment there you gotta like think of how can you figure out a way to solve this
Yeah.
or that. You gotta think of ways in which how can I make this a better place? Because everybody's just thinking about it. Once I get out of this place,
Yes.
that's when I'm gonna have my freedom. That's when I'm gonna have fun or everything.
100%.
You just think everything. There's nothing fun about that place. So now, what I used to do, I would chill with my people, relaxing, just thinking about life, and then that's when it started. I would just crack a joke out of nowhere, talk about the things that is happening, but make fun of it
Yes.
in a way.
Things that people see every day.
Yes,
And then
that's
you
how
just
I
see
am.
it from a different angle.
Exactly. So I really don't like that place. Hey, not gonna lie, but it's not a place where anyone would like to live.
I agree with you. And when somebody's in the thing, it's very difficult to go, I promise you're going to be grateful for this later on in your life because you're during. And when you're during, it's very hard to kind of hear it. But if you are, in my book, today preparing for a life as a comedian or a life as a creative, the more colorful your background, the more colorful your expression of art is going to be, naturally. So for me, where I see it is, as a comedian who's been fortunate enough to do comedy in a lot of places in the world, the first thing I notice is everybody who's not South African, so generally we're competing with the biggest markets in the world would be the US, obviously, the UK, Australia, then Europe, English speaking in terms of comedians. Then I find with the difference between first world and third world, what most people don't understand is the major difference is from an economic point of view, first world countries just have a much bigger middle class. So, for example, South Africa's third world because the majority of our population is in terms of lower LSM income earners. So that's what makes us third world. So if the majority come from that middle class, what you find is whether they're doing comedy in English, whether they're doing it in French, all of their stories are the same. Their rhythm is the same. Their cadence is the same. So then South Africans surprise them because we all come from different backgrounds, but we also have been forced to understand different cultures. And that understanding makes us storytellers. And for me, the art of art is storytelling. It doesn't matter how you're trying to express that, whether you're painting, whether you're making a movie, whether you're doing poetry, it doesn't matter. But for me, it's still the more colorful your background, the more colorful your art will be able to be. And as an artist, I pray on every artistic soul's life that they go through hardships. They go through difficult times. They get built up. They get texture. And then one day they'll shave their hair off for no reason, just to show how strong they are.
Yes. I like to say that with comedy, right?
Yes.
If you have more stories to tell,
Yes.
the more entertaining they are.
Absolutely.
So it's either you go to war and
Yeah.
come back with stories,
Yes.
or you just stay in like a nice neighborhood or stable place and you have boring stories to tell.
So what happens to those people is they're going to tell other people's stories. And the number one thing about stand-up comedy, so there's a number of different genres, but the number one thing about stand-up comedy is you have to be sharing your own stories. And I find that the best comedians in the world are those that share their own stories. And if they are going to share somebody else's story, it's because their perspective on that story is very different. So also coming up differently helps you with different perspectives. So I'm always saying to guys like that want to get into comedy, the first thing I say to them is don't do it if you're thinking about it as a career. So if you kind of sitting there and you going, I want to do stand-up comedy because I once saw that Trevor Noah is top 4 earning comics in the world and is worth $100 million or whatever the case is, and that's what I'm aspiring for. I go, you've failed already because you're missing the joy of the thing. The joy of the thing is what I feel like all of you have already. It's just, you can't explain it yet, but there's a feeling you get when you make somebody laugh. And especially when you make that person laugh outside of their control. So my favorite thing is to make somebody laugh whether they want to or not. So almost to be a bully with my humor. So walk into a room and then I don't care what type of day you've had. But from here on we are laughing. And then I'll stop and take time because what happens is you'll be in a room with 100 people, 10,000 people, it doesn't matter. Everybody's having a great time. There's one person that's just Gatiep. Just sour. You can't see the other people. You only see that person because my brain wants to make everybody laugh. So for me, if that thing has been a thing for you where in social circles, you generally, without even trying, the person that everybody ends up listening to because the way you tell stories makes them laugh, the way you tell stories makes them exciting, gives them color, gives them texture, and people kind of hang on your every word. If you get addicted to that, then I go, you're going to make it as a comedian. Because if you're coming into the game and you're doing it because of who you might meet, you're doing it because of the money you might make, you're doing it because of fame, you're doing it for all of those reasons, I'm like, you're already starting out wrong. But me from this age, I only started comedy at 30 years old. But from this age, whether it be at school, whether it be in my friends group, whether it be in the church youth group I used to belong to, teasing, roasting, making jokes, there was just something I can't explain. It's even now, it doesn't matter if it's one person at a toll gate or a till point or 1,000 people. I want to make everybody laugh. Just because when you're laughing, it's like a little holiday from your life. Like you can't be stressed and laughing. You can't be hungry and laughing. So even if you're hungry and I make you laugh, you forget about the hunger pains. Just for a few minutes, unless I'm making jokes about hunger. You know what I mean? But you can forget about it just and take a little holiday from your life. Shaylin, you look ready with fire questions. Fire questions.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, did you want to become a comedian, or did that opportunity just come up and then you were like, oh, let me do this?
That's a great question. So I was always attracted to comedy, but sincerely, I didn't believe that it was possible for me. And I always credit Trevor with, I think the greatest thing Trevor did for me and every comedian on African soil is just help us understand what's possible. So I've always been a fan of, if you don't believe in something, it's the same as not wanting that thing at all. So if you don't believe something is possible, you might as well not want it, because that thing is never going to happen. You're making it impossible in your mind. But if you believe in something and you believe something is possible, it opens up. So for me, before Trevor moved to the States, if you'd asked a South African comedian if it's possible for us to compete, they would have said probably not. Before Trevor became the host on The Daily Show, I suppose even if you've asked Trevor, is that possible for a South African to host Comedy Central Global's biggest platform, they would have said no. So then once he's done it, all of a sudden your brain goes, no, but I mean, if another human being can do it. I can do it too. Even me. Then the most important part comes. The most important part, and this I wish you discovered before I discovered it at just under the age of 40. But the most important part became, if you now understand that that's how powerful it is, as long as I believe in something, unpack what I need to give to receive this thing, and I'm willing to endure what I call the cost. So the cost is not the money, but for Trevor, for example, it's living in another country, not having a family, working 24/7, 365. You got no friendships, you got no relationships. Your whole life revolves only around comedy. And I go, I can't do that. So what happens next is, once you understand what's possible, you've then got to understand what you want, which is the most important thing, because otherwise you'll end up with somebody else's dreams, because you follow everybody's careers so closely, you follow the paths, and at the moment, we're in this thing where it can be slow, and all of a sudden things start for you. But just like, when you're in the rapids on a river, you can end up somewhere you don't want to be. You know what I mean? So you've got to make sure that you're controlling the boat, you've got to make sure that you understand what you want, and you've got to make sure at all times that you're chasing down your dreams, your happiness, your version of the thing. The gift that's going to give you is, now you're not competing with anybody. So now you don't feel like when somebody else succeeds, you're losing. So you don't feel like somebody else got the job, I didn't get the job, they must be better, I'm not as good. You go, no, that wasn't in the plan for me. That wasn't part of my route. I'm on a very specific course. I'm not looking left and right. I'm not comparing myself, my journey, to anybody else. And I call it the old colored proverb, I wake up every day and dala what I must, because I understand what I need, the road I'm on, and therefore I can celebrate everybody at the same time. So no, I didn't. But eventually, to answer your question, I'd failed terribly. I went into business instead of the arts, because I thought that there's no way to be rich and famous in South Africa, is my truth. I went into business, I failed terribly, and started comedy at the age of 30 after one of my best friends in the world. I have to always say it like that because he'll fight with me. One of my best friends in the world, Sivingesi. So I'd failed in business, went to audition because I thought maybe I'll do some acting and presenting. That started nice, and that's another nice life lesson is, if you don't like where you are, move. Even if it's not to comedy, just move from where you are, because you can't find the off-ramp that you're supposed to take if you haven't started moving. Sometimes you've got to be on your way somewhere to see, hey, this looks lekker. Let me
Sorry, but you're spinning.
catch a left here. Sorry, I'm all over.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going like, stop.
Oh, yes,
I'm
yes.
saying I'm doing fire.
Oh,
Because
wait,
you
I receive.
Right? Like, you're just like going. You,
These are great questions. These are great
great
questions.
answers.
So we do this. I fail in business. I've got nothing. I've lost everything. So I finally decided, okay, let me give the arts a try, because I'm broke anyway now. So I finally decided, let me give the arts a try. I'm 30 years old. I end up getting a couple of ads. I join an agency, and I've shot an ad for 5 days. I'm doing a big beer commercial with Sivingesi, and at the end of 5 days, Brian van Niekerk, the other cast member, and our director, Michael Middleton, say to me, "Bra, you should try stand-up comedy." They go, you've been making us laugh for 5 days. You should try stand-up comedy. I go, guys, I'm braai funny. Like, I'm funny with the Owens. I'm funny around the bra. I'm not stage funny. That's a different funny. Siv goes, dude, relax, sit down. I'm not saying you're going to be the next. I'm saying you clearly like making people laugh, so you should try stand-up comedy as a hobby. Because you obviously love making people laugh. I feel the hobby will give you the satisfaction that you're looking for. And long story short, I try stand-up comedy for the first time, not because I've got this big ambition of becoming a famous South African comedian, but because somebody said I might enjoy it. Just like I tried bungee jumping for the first time, go-karting for the first time, literally as a hobby.
The go-kart could carry your weight.
Well, my boy, when you start earning your own money, you know, and you just clean the breast milk here from the corners of your mouth, you'll realize that we can afford things that can carry us. You'll realize. No, but you started. That was nice. That was nice. I like it. That was nice. Also, it was a bit of a coward one because I wasn't even looking on the side. No, I see you. But also, you gotta be sharp the whole day. So yes, the go-kart could carry my weight.
And the bungee?
It's only a problem to get going. You know what I mean? So once it's you know what I mean? Once we're going, we're fine. Bungee, proud to say, second heaviest person to ever bungee jump at Victoria Falls. I was 138 kilograms at the time. I'm 128 now, in case you're wondering. That's why looking so cute. I was 138 that day, and the heaviest person ever was 140. So I was 138. Can you imagine? If I didn't go to the bathroom that morning, I would have been number one. I would have been number one, but I shared the weight, and now number two. But exactly like that. So I started it as a hobby. Because in my mind, I'm going to do all these other things where I have to make my money. A hobby is something that generally costs you money. So you work at work, you make money to afford yourself a hobby which entertains you. And the hobby became the thing. But the first time I did it, it gave me a feeling that people have written books about. You know, it's so cheesy, but I felt like my life seated. Like, you guys are too young to have cars, but when you're putting petrol, once you finish crying for the price, and you've got to put your cap back, if you turn that petrol cap, it screws, and then it goes to say it's designed to fit like that. And while I was on stage my first time, I remember feeling like my whole universe was going click, click. Like, there was a movie called Waiting to Exhale, and I felt like I'd been waiting my whole life to exhale. And my first thought was, oh my God, this is the best feeling I've ever had. I have to work as hard as possible in my whatever jobs I was doing at the time to afford to do this as much as possible. Not, oh my God, this is going to make me rich. Oh my God, this is the thing. Literally, my first thought was, this is the most fun I've had in my life. I'm going to work as hard as possible to do this.
How did you write your first set? Who helped you?
So that's a great question. I remember Nicholas Goliath and I started on the same day, and Nick and I were very drunk when we had the conversation about what stuff. Don't worry, kids, I'm sorry. But it's true. You'll have problems and debit orders later on. And you'll see. You've got to do what you've got to do. And I tell Nicholas what Siv said. Nicholas goes, I also want to do it. And the next day makes an appointment on my behalf. And I'm still babalas. And Nicholas phones me and he says, I made this appointment. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? I mean, we don't make contracts under Black Label. There's a rule. There's a rule. And he's like, no, Auntie gave me a lot of things. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. He's like, Auntie gave me so much pressure because it's two of us. She said, don't waste my time. We've got 6 weeks. And then I said to him, okay, fine. Then we're going to go to, it was a club in Melville called the Underground, which was the greatest comedy club in South African history, in my opinion. Most of the greats that you know came up there, earned their stripes there. And I remember saying to Nick, cool, tell your wife we're going to go to the Underground every Sunday for the next 6 weeks to kind of figure it out. Then what you find is, because comedy is so difficult, comedians, two fellow comedians, are the nicest human beings in the world. We call it camaraderie, where comedians are not like musicians or like actors even, where, you know, you need bodyguards and protection. All I need to know is that you're a comedian. I don't even have to see you perform. If somebody who I've seen perform and I trust tells me that that person is funny, I'll help you with whatever you want. And I'm talking that stretches to any comic on earth. If you are funny, every comedian on earth will stop what they're doing and help you fix your bit. Whether it's, I've been at the bar, next to me is Dave Chappelle, I turn around and I go, yo, Dave, I'm such a fan. Dave turns as if I'm a normal fan, sees artist on my tag, treats me like we've been friends forever. Which is just like, it's so, because it's so difficult, comedians will help you. So there I'm there, waiting after the show. I ask people after the show, hey, what do you suggest? What do you suggest? And the way I advise people now is kind of what I'd summarize there. Your first time you go up, you want to write 5 minutes of your own jokes. You want them to be stories that you find funny. It's so easy to get in your head about what do you think they're gonna laugh at? What do I think they're gonna find funny? Stuff that makes you laugh your first 5 minutes. So my first 5 minutes was about being overweight and about having diarrhea. Because till today, there's nothing funnier for me than diarrhea. It's a little bit closer to home today than you guys think or understand.
It's been a while since you've had
It is
diarrhea,
nothing.
right?
My man, you look like you have never had a solid poop in your life. My friend, you look like your mother only has no name brand food in the house. You are a streetwise 2, I am a parfait. I'm not sure how this ends up. I'm not sure how this ends up. I've never seen a hoodie look cold on somebody. Your hoodie looks like it needs a hoodie. I'm Champions League of this thing. I don't know why. Just because you got 5% of Anele's smile, now you are on me. Mind the gap, Papa. Mind the gap. No, you're throwing hands here for no reason.
It's like this.
At professionals. Yeah, imagine. 1 goal Shabalala on Cristiano Ronaldo. Come on. What was I saying? I was making big facts. So write 5 minutes of your own stuff. Comedians are strongly against plagiarism. You're not going to go tell a joke you got on email. You're not going to go tell a joke you got on WhatsApp. And if somebody did tell you a story that you find is hilarious, you got to ask that person, is this your story? Did this happen to you? And if they go, yes, you go, can I have this story? So you're asking permission. Can I have this story to tell on stage? And even on stage, yes, you can reinterpret the story and make it funnier and add your own spices, but you've got to be always open and honest with the audience. So number 1, write 5 minutes of your own stuff. Make sure it's stuff that you find funny. And the trick that I would do is write it down. Your first set, you want to write it down and then use a highlighter just to highlight where you think people are going to laugh. And where you'd get that is, what about this story makes you laugh? Then get those words in your head as quickly as you can before your first time. So know what the words are going to be. And generally, if you're a storyteller, you know the words because you know the story. So you know beginning, middle, end. Then in the beginning, you want to make everything as short as possible. So the reason you're highlighting is when you finished writing out your 5 minutes and you've now used your highlighter, anything that's not highlighted, it means it's not giving you a laugh. Then you got to ask yourself a question. If I'm not getting a laugh with this line, do I need this line? If I can cut that line out and bring the laughs even closer together, I'm already starting to win. If I can get the laughs as tight as possible, now I've got a set. Most important, opening your introduction. You want to get them comfortable and get them trusting you as quickly as possible. So you want to do your second funniest. And this Chris Forrest told me years ago. When you're new, you want to do your second funniest. What you think is your funniest, you want to do last. Your second funniest, you want to do first. Everything else you do in the middle. If you do your second funniest first, you get a laugh up front. Once people laugh, their brains have decided you're funny. Because remember, the thing about comedy, you come here on stage and you're telling people, I'm funny and I'm going to make you laugh. Pressure. Once they laugh, they start believing, okay, this person could be funny. So you start with something that you know is going to get you a laugh. Your second funniest bit. You then find a golden thread, which we call links or segues, to link each of your stories together, putting your funniest story at the end, which will build to your basic laugh. But write 5 minutes of stuff that you find funny, and then go on stage and try it. If you take it in the teeth, you're learning. And comedians take it in the teeth. You got to get used to that. Because even Dave Chappelle still takes it in the teeth. The comedy's the boss. That's the one thing about comedy. It's not like music where you can get to a point where you're going to be excellent every single time. Comedy is always the boss. So even when you've been doing it for 20 years, which I think is the doctorate, you know what I mean? You've been doing comedy for 20 years. I go, 20 years qualifies you. I'm at 12 years, which in my mind excites me, because if my marker is 20 years, it means I'm only getting started. I'm only starting to find my voice. I'm only settling into what the narrative of my stories are going to be. At 20 years deep, then I'm going to be proper, what I feel, a vetted comic. So at the moment, I'm just excited that there's still more meat on the bone, still a journey to run, and more adventures to make.